The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello, and welcome to Moving Iron Podcast. I got the folks back here again from Axon Tire, and they're nice enough to come on and talk about what's happening in the world of tires as they travel around and see their customers. We got a new face here. We got Brad Rabin from Axon, and Brad covers Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. You just told me that, and I messed it up already. Brad has been in the tire business his whole life. So, Brad, talk a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I live in Evansville, Indiana, and as you mentioned, I handle Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, and I previously handled Illinois, so I am a little familiar with the Illinois area as well.
Right.
Before Dawson and Axon came together. But as you mentioned, I've been in tires most of my life, and more focused on the ag industry here the last couple of years as I've been with Dawson and Axon, and learning a lot. But
right on. Well, glad to have you, Brad. Then we got the old crusty podcast veteran up there. We got Grant Felton on here. So, Grant, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, glad you could be on now. You've changed up your territory a little bit from the last time you were on. You're covering Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, Missouri, Louisiana, and Mississippi, and parts in between. Right? That's your neck of the woods now. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right on. So it's been a bit of a challenging year, and depending on where you're at. In the Delta, they've had lots of rain, and then Brad, up in your neck of the woods, they've had lots of rain too. So I guess, Brad, we'll start with you first. As you're looking around right now and you're starting to see kind of planning get wrapped up, what were some of the biggest challenges you saw come across this planting season compared to years in past?
Well, I think the rain is still an issue in parts of my territory, Northwest Ohio particularly. I was up in northern Indiana a couple weeks ago, and it's not so much that I don't think the rain quantity is necessarily all that much heavier than years past, but we just can't seem to get a break.
Right.
And it's, rain a day or two. And when I was up in northern Indiana, I saw, tractors sitting in the fields that had made 2 loops or passes, and then they were just sitting there. And even in parts of Kentucky where they got into the field, I'd say a little earlier than maybe years past, and most of it got planted. But even this past weekend in western Kentucky, heavy rains. I never really got an official total, but anecdotally over the last week and a half, some people have said we've seen as much as 10 to 12 inches of rain. So definitely keeping people, out of the fields. Most, I'd say we're probably close to the national average, somewhere around 80% in, but there's certainly pockets that are not where they want to be this time of year.
Yep. It always amazes me. You watch the panic that goes on when the planting progress falls behind 10 or 15%, and oh my God, we're not going to get it planted. And then by the weekend, they're caught up or ahead of schedule. So it's it's amazing how fast they can go get that stuff back into the field.
Well, I think I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the concerns, with all the rains in western Kentucky, I feel like I'm seeing more weed out there than in years past, and that's turning here. Most of them are wanting to get out next week or the week after, and if these rains continue, it's going to slow them up from bringing in the wheat and getting the beans back in. So,
wheat is the most time sensitive crop to get harvested. It seems like of the big the big cash crops. And growing up in Kansas, I remember the panic that would come this time of the year when guys are getting ready to go into harvest, and they're just seeing one thunderstorm after another roll through, and hoping that their field's not the one that gets smashed down by baseball size hail. So that's always the fun part of the wheat guys. So Grant, talk a little bit about where you're at now. So you cover a pretty diverse area when you start looking at where you go from West Texas all the way over to Mississippi, start looking around the Delta and those kind of things. I guess, what are some of the things you're seeing there that may be a little bit different from what you've seen in the past?
So what I used to cover was pretty much the plains area. So Missouri, diagonal line up to Montana. So all I would used to see was corn, wheat, and beans. And when you get Montana, some lentils and things like that. But now I'm getting into more of the area of sugarcane and cotton and things like that. And I tell you, the rains are really making West Texas happy, and it's looking good on their side of it if it shuts off. And I think they started planting May 1st area. And then you go across Texas, and then you start hitting down in Beaumont, down in the sugarcane area, and those sugarcane prices are skyrocketing just because some stuff down in the valley at the border going on, and they're feeling happy. So I think it's going to be a great year for West Texas and Louisiana and all those sugarcane guys, but the rest of us with commodity prices and interest rates, we're just going to hold on there and just keep positive and get through another year like we do in the past.
Yeah. No, it's a weird year. You were looking at wheat, and wheat hasn't really done anything commodity wise since the invasion, since Russia invaded Ukraine. And as you look at where the things are now, I mean, you start looking at soft red winter wheat and hard red winter wheat, and you're looking where those things out there, they're going up so fast. They're trying to pull up wheat and soybeans with them, and you start to see that take place. But we're going to get some more information out of South America to really start. It looks like, but all the drought-stricken areas that we saw early this spring that people were really worried about playing into are no longer that way. So you've got plenty of soil moisture profile and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be an interesting year. As long as things stay the same, we should have a good crop. But you both know as well as I do that things can change pretty quick in the world when it comes to how much rain and how much heat you get.
Yeah, it's definitely been a catch-22. Nobody wants to wish the rain away because they're all afraid it won't come back if it does go away. So
the old jinx, like I could stop raining today, that'd be great, but tomorrow I can come back. That'd be type of thing. Yeah, that's a good catch-22 there. So with the wet season that we've seen so far in your guys' territory, has there been a demand for float tires? You seeing guys coming asking for if you got any used floats or stuff like that for their sprayers or for their maybe some bigger flotation style stuff on their planters or something like that to get in the field? Are you seeing some demand for that?
I'm seeing some demand for that. Some of my customers in Kentucky that traditionally may not even run floats with all the wet weather have either called looking for floats, used floats particularly, or left floats on longer than what they would normally be running this time of year. So definitely seeing that. The used float market is tough because as soon as they come in, they pretty much go right back out. So that's definitely a high turn item that we keep them in stock when we can, but
right.
If I tell you we have them, you better act on them.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Grant, you see anything like that in your area?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of guys that mainly probably never called me for floats call me and wanting some, but on the other hand, you got guys that you expect to do a bunch of orders, but their customers are holding on to them for another year. They're not rolling their sprayers, and so a lot of those big order guys are cutting back, but you're also getting a lot of guys that never called me before, like, what location you at, kind of let me enter you in the system kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's the one side of the business that is, in my opinion, when I was a used equipment guy, that I always lean so hard on was that used tire side of the vendors I was working with. A couple of reasons. One is just because it's got 85 or 90% rubber doesn't mean that it's a bad tire, right? I mean, if I got a 7,000 hour tractor that needs new tires, I'd much rather go back on it with a set of 80% tires than a brand new set, just because the brand new set almost shines too brightly on that tractor, because it kind of overshadows a lot of the issues that you might see with the machine, and it shows sometimes you're not going to get your way tires cost now. You might spend $25,000 or $30,000 on a new set of tires for that, and next thing you know, are you going to get that back? Where I could go spend half that or 3/4 of that, and I'm going to have a better option. One thing I do like about, especially with you guys coming together with Dawson, the used inventory that you guys have. Grant, why don't you talk a little bit about what you see in your used inventory and how is that? We talked about floats a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about just if I wanted to get a used set of duals or something like that for my row crop tractor. What's that inventory look like, and do you see any pressure there as far as availability goes?
Definitely on the side of merging with Dawson, it's been a huge help, because I'll look in the system and someone will be wanting to set up get duals or swap a tractor, and I might see two tires in here that'll work for you. Well, the other ones are over in Gothenburg now, and I can look over there and say, oh, well, we got a complete set. We can make something work here, because there's so many people and so many customers that we deal with combined across the U.S. It's just so helpful getting that availability and being able to sell that to the end customer at the end of the day, and help our customers move more iron too, and help them make a sale. That I don't want tires to be the thing to stop you from making money or anything like that. If I can help you any way I can and increase our inventory along that lines of having good trade-in values too. We want your used tires, because we can turn around and sell them, and that's a high ticket item that everyone knows us for and calls us for. So that's another thing. We're never gonna say no, I'm not gonna take that. We're gonna do our best to give you a good value of what you're gonna be excited for.
Yep. So Brad, you've been, like you said, you've been doing this for a while. Over your career, as you look at how used tires have played into your portfolio, how's that working for you now?
So in the past, I wasn't necessarily, I mentioned, as involved just solely on the ag side. So used tires in ag certainly have a much bigger role. I mean, the tires last longer. And to your point earlier, I mean, matching the tire to the piece of equipment. There's a range of tires from 35, 30% all the way up to new takeoff. And the used piece is a huge piece. And the thing about the used inventory, and especially now that we've come together, and we may not always have the exact setup that a customer needs, but just this morning I had a deal where a customer was looking to change over a 4-wheel drive tractor, and I had some wheels on one set of tires, and I had a set of takeoff tires, and at Axon we're able to take those old wheels off, refurbish them, put them on these new takeoff wheels or tires, I'm sorry, and we were able to sell them for a 1-year-old tractor. The tires on the wheels didn't necessarily match. So used is a huge piece of it. As Grant mentioned, we're always looking to buy the popular sizes. Some of the more obsolete, I mean, we're having to manage our inventories just like every dealer's having to manage their inventories. And with the higher interest rates, we can't bring in everything, but we're certainly trying to be fair and bring in what we can.
Right, for sure. And I think that's the one thing too about used tires. When I was looking at them, was you always get the tractor that comes in that's got a little bit of a odd shaped tire for your area, right? Might have been on some kind of a specialty piece of equipment or something like that, or you had we're seeing now where some row crop tractors are wanting to get flipped over to a wider single 800 style, 900 style tire in the back and a 600 on the front. A little bit different than the normal realm where you've got your two 480s or 520s in the back, and you've got your whatever in the front, and you're going through that whole thing. Working through that, I've always had a really good opportunity to say, okay, cool, I want to take this set of duals, front and rear duals, and trade them for something else. And I've always felt like I've got a good quality trade value, stuff like that I can make work on my end, and I think that's what I've always liked about working with Dawson and Axon on those kind of things too together, where those two things came together and it made it simple for me to go out and move more iron, so it made it simple for me to do that. So I go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like this deal that I was talking about earlier on the 4-wheel drive. I mean, the dealership had several tractors on the lot that all had the same tires, and they wanted to give their customers options. So it wasn't that the tires on there were bad. It was just, to your point, they, I think had 710s and wanted 800s to offer more diversity. So that's where we can really shine.
Yep. So talk a little bit about what you're hearing from your customers as you go and talk to them. What are they feeling about the market? Are they more optimistic than they were at the start of the year? Are they about the same, or they've gotten things kind of stood off the cliff a little bit?
In my area, I think it's still about the same. I mean, I definitely think there was maybe a little more optimism. It's really kind of interesting because I've got some dealers that they've been so limited on the products that they could get over the last few years that they're actually optimistic that they may be able to move some product that they can now get to some customers that have the demand. Others, they're a little less optimistic. The used market, particularly on combines, I think everyone's doing what they can to move them as quick as they can. There's still a demand for it, but the prices have dropped significantly. I think the general number that I've heard is corn prices are about $1 at a minimum less than where anybody would want to see them to start making some decisions like that. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't, like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag. Overall, I don't think we're going to get through it. I mean, that's not, it's not like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But it's people that maybe would have bought something this year. They may, take a planter and go an extra year. They may keep their sprayer, to Grant's point, an extra year, but people are going to still buy. They've still got to replace. They can't get too far behind on their cycle. And overall, I think it's just kind of a steady, let's get through this year and see how the crops come in and see.
Yep. Grant, you got a little different area. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think what I'm hearing, everyone's kind of we're just trying to figure out how long it's going to last. Some guys say, well, we need to get through the end of the year. It's going to be a year. Some even say, well, it's going to be 2 years before you get the boat turned around and start heading back up in the right direction. And that's just the thing. I mean, as well as I do, people don't make decisions when they don't know what's going to go on. They're wanting to try to get a grip on this stuff and say, okay, well, here's where we're at. Here's our cost. All right. We got some corn contracted, finally got the bins cleared out, ready to go. We can finally kind of look ahead and kind of plan farther of where we need to be at to make those big decisions.
Right. No, I think you're right. And that's the one thing too about the situation where we're at is that I think there's a lot of people that have cautious optimism. I think is probably the best way to put it. They don't want to jump too far out there yet. They kind of trying to test to see where the bottom is at and move from there. The interest rate issue has got a lot of people kind of, how I can't hold this stuff forever because I'm losing. The interest clock is ticking every day here, and I'm trying to watch things move. So we're seeing that, and we're starting to see more row crop tractors show up on the market, on the auction market than we've seen in the past too. So that's another new variable that's coming into play. So it'll be interesting to watch how the year plays out and keep things moving forward. But I feel good about 24 comparatively to where I started. I feel a little better about it now than I did, but that's not saying much. So it's I'm not like 180 degrees different than what I was. So I'm enough to have a little glimmer of hope there. I think when you start looking at what's going on. So that's good. Well, guys, I think that's probably a good place to stop. Brad, if folks want to reach out to you, what's the easiest way for folks to get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me on an email at brad.rabin@axontire.com. Yeah, that's probably the best way.
That'll work. Grant, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
Shoot me an email, grant.felden@axontire.com. Both our contacts are on the website. Just Google Axon, and you'll be able to figure out who's your territory guy, and go from there. Just give us a shout if you need anything.
Right on. That's axontire.com, and you can check all that stuff out there and see everybody's contact info and what have you there. So, guys, I appreciate you being on the podcast. We'll catch you again next time.
Very good. Thank you.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Check me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. Check out the YouTube channel at Moving Iron Podcast YouTube channel, and go to Moving Iron LLC for everything Moving Iron related. So with that, I'm Casey Seymour with Grant and Brad. Let's move some iron, folks. Out. Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving higher in the 21st century.